I don't know why every junkie has a girlfriend. Your dick just doesn't cooperate. Like it gets
Oh, okay. I thought you meant because you were left-handed.
no. It gets, it gets ready, but then there's no product at the end. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's all R&D, nothing to sell. So for the first time in the history of Discussion Eagle, which as of this recording has yet to be released, so maybe this is just we've gone real nuts and recorded a bunch of conversations between the two of us. We are going to do a reaction.
A reaction video. Oh yeah. Do we? So in this, are we listening to the whole thing through? I've already watched it.
Oh, I watched it with my representative.
Why did you do that?
She said, "Do you want to watch it?"
Okay.
And I was like, I'm supposed to save it for a podcast. And then she was like, "Come on." And I was like, okay, I'm going to say this right now. Not good. Not a good video from Chris D'Elia.
I think the sound was brilliant. He's got a lovely quality to his voice, a lovely depth to it. And the microphone, it's a really good microphone, the Shure SMB 78 or whatever it's called.
Did you enjoy just the sheer amount of times he said the word sex?
I didn't pick up on that because I think I have quite I think I hear that word even when it's not being said in quite a Chris D'Elia type way. I think one thing I want to pin down about Chris D'Elia is, first of all, how do you say his name?
D'Elia.
Second of all, sorry?
Chris D'Elia. Also, do you not know how he's famous? Because I was thinking about this. I was like, oh, wait, young Alfonso may not know why this gooback is famous.
I think he is famous because he was in a program called Whitney.
Yes, he was. He was in Whitney Cummings' sitcom with noted woman whose hair color changes every day, Whitney Cummings.
Okay, and he was like the heart throb.
He certainly was. His many hearts did throb for his, as it turned out, pedo-y penis, groomer penis. Technically, he was a groomer.
Now, he claims not to have broken the law. Is that true, or is he not telling the truth when he says that?
As far as I understand it, did not technically break the law, but he did really give us a real factor. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so given his proclivities and the directions which he aimed himself and his efforts, they were toward younger people.
They were towards, yes, people that were legal but in their teens. People that were 17 circled back, allegedly, and messaged them again when they were 18. Like he counted the months.
Okay, well, that's good.
I mean, it's
well, it's better than not counting the months, isn't it? It's not good, but it's better than the alternative.
You know what, Alfie? I'm going to give you that one. It is you know what? In this case, it is better than the alternative. That is true.
I'm just saying, if we want to accurately criticize somebody, then we've got to give them credit where it is due.
I forgot that old Pete Pedant was going to be joining us for the program today.
I'm just saying, I want to, because he didn't break the law. That's fair. He did message people who were underage and seemed to message more people who were underage than people who were not underage.
Yes, it's more he messaged back.
But is this, if I'm going to just play Chris D'Elia's side for a little while longer?
Oh no. Go ahead.
If you are going to be sort of shit at comedy in that fuckable jock type way,
good,
then a lot of the people that you're going to attract are going to be sort of young people with comedically primitive tastes. And comedically primitive tastes will therefore necessarily be younger. He says he goes into town, he gets 50 messages. Now, by dint of just the kind of comedy that he provides, a lot of them are going to be at a young age. So
Okay.
maybe it's not that he's like going towards that. Maybe he's not seeking out this
You're
this
right.
age bracket. Maybe it's the age bracket that was thrust upon him owing
It
to
is-
his skill set or their lack
Alfie,
of.
you've nailed it.
Thank you.
It's his fault. It's not his fault. All those young, impressionable people messaged him,
Yeah.
and that he responded with dirty intent. It was their fault. Good for you.
No, but it's not. It's not. I'm not saying it's their fault either. I'm just saying that and also I'm not saying that he's not morally culpable for messaging them back. What I'm saying is that it's morally better for him to have just been responding to messages, all the messages he gets, than that he sought out the youngest available people.
Well, what was happening was he was seeking out women and using his position to manipulate the situation so he could fuck them. And he was clearly drawn towards younger people because they were more susceptible to his manipulations.
Right. And what do we mean by using his position?
He was an incredibly famous person in Boise, Idaho, and a 17-year-old, probably with braces and confusion in her eyes, is going to
braces
go and confusion in your eyes. It was going to go up to his hotel room and then be sexed by a creep.
So what are you supposed to do? You're always going to be a famous comedian.
Not fucking cruise fucking social media for fucking pun, you fucking loser. Be a fucking adult and stand by the stage door and meet an age-appropriate chuckle houndarooski like a fucking adult. That's what you if you want to get laid in town, you do it old school. You go into a bar and you get recognized by someone, and then you do what all the NBA stars do, and you have them sign a large legal document that makes sure that consent is completely and totally agreed to, and your ID is photographed by your friend, who of course will be staying in the room to make sure that everything is fine.
Right. That doesn't sound better to me.
I think for me it does.
That doesn't. I think you've taken away. I think I'd struggle to get it up after that. Really? Could you sign this document? I think that would take me out of it a little bit. Can we get rid of this screen or watch the thing?
I mean, I'm just very excited to know that Alfie Brown, just for those of you keeping track, ladies and gentlemen, Alfie Brown, pro Crystalia, anti Alfie Brown, father of 3, pro grooming.
We've got to have something to talk about. What I really think isn't important. The content of the podcast is what's important.
I want to point
out it's much more fun to make you squirm a little bit and have to condemn.
What I like is also the two of us that are definitely going to run into Crystalia, and he's definitely the kind of guy that's going to Google himself and know all of who's giving him hate. It's definitely going to be me. And that's going to be fun. Because as I've said many times on this program, the entire reason we know this about Crystalia is he is an asshole. And comedians stand by the people that are nice to each other within the tribe. And people that are dicks get their comeuppance.
I mean, met Crystalia. I think he's got a lot of cool qualities on stage. He has great charisma. Great charisma. He has great charisma.
His charisma comes across as very toxic and forced.
That's a kind of subjective take. I find it to be. I find his charisma to be charming and depthful.
I know you don't. I can see you when you're playing. You have devil's advocate eyes and a wry smile of a naughty boy.
Do you know what I call this? When I do this, I used to do this with my friend all the time, and it came to a head where we had a big falling out because I told him I thought Donald Rumsfeld was a great politician, and from then on we've called it Rumsfelding.
Yes, I would call it doing the old Alfie Brown myself, but you could call it whatever you want.
But I wouldn't do this on stage. I'm simply doing it because if I say to you,
hang on.
Sure. Not anymore. I don't want to go into what I was like as a young boy, like a renegade of this posh atomic age. No, I don't want to.
Not even a young boy. Exhibit A, and it's a very well delivered bit, the pro pedophile bit of your next up special.
I back up the message in that, and so do you, actually. And it's not a
mean,
pro pedophile bit. It's an interesting investigation into consensus and legality and the law's relationship to morality. It's not just a fucking
how do you feel
dumb
about
bit.
how do you feel about that you called one of your own bits interesting? Do you feel very good about yourself doing that?
No, because all my bits are interesting to me because I wrote them. So they're literally going to be things I'm interested in, aren't they?
Yeah, no. How many mirrors are in your house, and do you look good in all of them? Anyway, let's watch this.
I don't. There's a mirror downstairs underneath that's opposite a window. So I always look quite good in that one because there's window light shines through the back of you onto the mirror.
I need to get a cup of coffee that's just slightly out of reach.
Okay, I'll cover for you.
And then this will just be an edit point, clearly.
Yeah. I am now going to vamp whilst John gets his cup of coffee. What I don't mind telling you about this little section here is that the lamp in his shot I can't work out whether that's a good artistic. Oh, he's back. Whether it's a good artistic choice or a bad artistic choice. But what I will tell you is it's avant-garde. And
are you talking about your pedophile bit or all?
No, I'm talking about the lamp that's in shot. I couldn't work out whether I liked it or not.
I like it because I can do this. I have an idea. Let's start the clip.
That's a good idea.
Isn't that fun? Let's do it.
Hi, everyone.
See, much better microphone.
I know.
Oh, his microphone. I will say this about this episode: the sound quality he's bringing to the game is stellar. First off, Alfie, what do we think of his shirt and how it hangs on him?
I was just about to mention how gorgeous his shirt is. It's a green and blue gingham sort of vibe, and it fits. It's not a tight t-shirt, so it's not showy, but it is letting any 14-year-olds watching know I've been going to the gym. But he's not so big that he'd put you off as a teenage.
He's just strong enough to really, really make sure you stay in the hotel room, but he's not strong enough that you'd be put off before you got in the hotel room. Is what you're saying? That is what Alfie Brown is saying?
Sure.
Yeah. I would say that shirt hangs like he's a guilty man. That is the shirt of a guilty gentleman.
I think he has I think the shoulders inside the shirt are guilty. The shirt.
They certainly are, Alfie. I won't disagree with you on that. Excellent observation.
That it's been a really long time since you've heard from me. And when the news broke, I put out a statement that said everything I've done has been legal and consensual, and that's true. And I don't like that it's true. Is it that's he's very proud of himself for saying that, and that's true, you know.
He thinks he deserves extra moral points for. Well, there was a legal statement made. Of course, it would have been absolutely incalculably awful for me and everybody around me had it been a lie. So actually, the fact that it was true is
pretty
good
great
for me. Good for me, actually.
You want to know what's pretty sweet? Everything in that statement was true. And you know what's fun about that is the idea of a publicist writing a totally true statement. Because you know what? One thing I'll say this about the entire industry of PR: honest people to a fault.
Also, do you not find that now he's doing an apology video, his background and its aesthetic has taken on a slightly different meaning?
Yes, it looks like he's testifying in a court.
It sort of looks like he's testifying in court, but also he could, if he was saying to the camera, listen, I did it. I did all of those things, and you'll never find me. I could be fucking anywhere. Look at these walls. I'm in a shed in a wood in America, and it could be in any number of different states.
I almost wish you had been his consigliere on this video, and you had just said that. Because what's interesting is him and Brian Callen broke at the same time, and Brian Callen just went, "I didn't fucking do it. I'm not fucking going away." And has weirdly weathered the storm better than Chris D'Elia because he provided another narrative to it. Well, Chris D'Elia just going away, the vacuum has been filled by all of us going, yeah, he is a creep. And he's an asshole too. And look at his shirt.
The thing is that if he just went, I didn't do anything, I'm fine, I'm going to carry on doing the podcast. Like, then we'd have all gone, oh, Well, then he can't really. The fact that he's gone away for so long makes us think, oh, he had to.
Because he would then be vulnerable. If he had just stood there and gone, no, I didn't do that.
I think going away, he was afraid of things coming out, which is, that's me, of course. That's speculation, of course. But that feels like the reason why you would go away.
When Me Too happened, Alfie, did you have a long sit down and think, is there anything coming down the pipe for old Alfie Clown?
No, not because I haven't done anything. I'm just nowhere near successful enough.
I had a moment where I was like, I don't think I've done anything that would warrant a press release. And
I genuinely haven't done anything. My mum sat me down and said, so with all this Me Too stuff, is there anything about you we should be worried about? I said, Mum, are you asking me if I've raped somebody? And she went, no, just have you ever like sexually harassed anyone? And I said, no, I've never, just because one enjoys having sex with various sexual partners doesn't make, and also I don't necessarily agree. Like there are ways of doing things. Like you can go, somebody messages you on, I mean, there's going to be a power balance to every fuck, and I'm not quite sure. I think it's one of those things that isn't bad up until a point, and then it gets to a point where it starts to be quite bad because they're only fucking you because you're famous or because the power you have because you're famous. What about if you have a fucking incredible power because you're incredibly handsome or incredibly funny or you have incredible charisma or you have all these things that
you can't pay rent with handsomeness.
Okay, well, what if you are incredibly? There's always what I'm saying is there always is, and you can sort of pay rent with handsomeness. And also, when it's not talking about paying rent, it's talking about trying to.
I understand.
Charisma is incredibly intoxicating and could convince people to sleep with people.
Donald Rumsfeld.
I know, but I think this is it. No, but yeah, sure, but you can't just if you don't have an answer to it, then there has to be an extent to which we go on.
I do have an answer, which is there's very defined power dynamics, which within inappropriate relationships do take place because of power. In that, I see what you're saying in that there is a certain power dynamic to any sort of relationship. That's 100% true. But those are not absolutely defined power dynamics. Power dynamics which are then exploited in terms of the Me Too movement, or exploit's the wrong word, but used in the Me Too movement, used as examples, are this person was the boss. They controlled this other person's job. This person whose job was controlled by this person who was their boss felt by if they didn't fuck the boss, their job was in jeopardy. Or they did reject their boss and they were shamed as a result of it. And they lost work opportunities as a result of it. I understand what you're saying in that you are acting as if there is a bunch of other examples that could be used as a power dynamic. But when it's coming to power dynamics, there are specific times where it's gone, this person's power was used to get sex from this person. And it's always in that specific way. And
I understand that, but all of those things and all of those situations that you're describing are situations in which somebody failing to give sex to the powerful person would be put into a difficult or horrible situation. The only thing that the person loses by not having sex with Chris D'Elia, whatever his name is not having sex with him. Nobody loses out on work because they don't respond to a message from Chris D'Elia. They are all horny for the idea that they get to sleep with somebody famous and attractive.
Yes, but it's also the difference of but then he, as a person who's in his fucking 40s, should know not to fucking message a child. Someone who's 17, yes, I'm aware they can drive a car and buy a beer, but they're still a fucking child, and he knows what he's fucking doing. He knows. I think
all of these things operate on quite fine margins, and yes, 17, that's correct. But also, I don't know what the laws are in America. Isn't it like 18 some places, 21 others, and 16 in others?
In some places, 14 in one state. Yes,
14.
I believe it's 14 in one of the southern states. Like it's one of those things I saw on a listicle where like 15 reasons to hate Mississippi, and one of them's like pedophile capital of the Southwest. Like it's super fucked up. But again, it's what you're saying, and I know that you're doing this to be entertaining and provide some devil's advocacy, but in the end, he's a fucking adult and he should fucking know better. Keep your fucking hands in your pockets around the fucking high school students, you fucking creep. Also, what the fuck are you doing? You're the fucking captain of your fucking industry. You knew that this was all going to affect it. You knew what you were doing was chaotic, bullshit, dangerous behavior. Because that's why he also got in such shit for it. Because he shut down everything. Because he also knew there was dark stuff to come out. He fucking knows that he wouldn't have done what he did if he wasn't absolutely suspicious some scary shit was going to come out that was going to affect his life.
No, absolutely. But also in terms of what it has come out, I'm just talking about the
Sure, but we also have operated in we also do know that there is some dark arts to all of the PR wars. He could have had some stuff disappear. There's some stuff that's behind NDAs potentially, all that sort of stuff. He is, in the end, his fucking father is an incredibly powerful producer in Los Angeles. His fucking father was behind the practice, all of the David E. Kelly shows. Like his father is legitimately one of those like crazy show business people that's got like 1 million houses and a bunch of doves that he fucks. So there's also power balance in that sort of situation where it's also one of those things where you as a 17-year-old may not feel comfortable saying no to Chris D'Elia because you think he's fucking famous, and he is aware of how famous he is because of who his family is, and he's been around famous people, and he knows what that dynamic is, and he's also old enough to know who he is in that position. Also, he's fucking married, so fucking keep your hands in your fucking pockets. In the end, you can say power dynamic all you want, but it comes down to the simple and arguable fact: he was trying to fuck someone who was not of legal age.
Well, yeah, then it's completely awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you change 17 to 20, does that make it fine?
I mean, I have a bit of an issue with it. If you're 38 fucking a 20-year-old, society has decided that it's fine. But also, you
sure it has. Which society? Not our society. Maybe the society in
British society would be like, well.
I think if it may be, if it depends who it is. I mean, like, I also in our circles in comedy,
Absolutely
I think that would be frowned upon massively.
Absolutely, yes. No, I don't go in for that sort of malarkey myself. Yeah, it's too much of an age difference. Like, also, like, have you spoken to a fucking 20-year-old?
Yeah, but I've also spoken to a 32-year-old. I mean, there are loads of idiots.
Yeah,
I've also spoken to some really interesting 20-year-olds.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so have I, actually. I also just assume everyone's my age, which is why I've got a Chris D'Elia style apology video coming down the pipe.
You're a little bit old to be selling cookies door to door, aren't you?
Yeah. Oh no. Oh no.
That statement to speak for itself. And I wanted to talk immediately. I wanted to post online. I wanted to do my podcast business as usual, but I thought that might not be the best thing. What might be the best thing would be if I just
No, he didn't. He got fucking sat down by a fucking emergency PR company and explained everything that he did, and they put him somewhere. That's what it was.
I think we're just to let you know, I think we're 22 minutes in, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through this whole video, stop it, and explain to him why he's a dickhead. I want to say, if I was his PR guy, his consigliere on this whole project, what I would have done, right? You don't deserve that microphone arm anymore. You don't deserve that microphone anymore. I would have set him up with a little rickety little piece of shit thing on one of those things on a stand on the desk. Old. The screw didn't work properly. This kept on the microphone kept on sinking in front of his mouth, and it was a tinny quality, and just to make him look like he's had some really hard time, like he can't afford his gorgeous microphone anymore.
Yeah,
this bad man having nice things doesn't make us feel any more sympathetic towards him. Hello, everyone. We're back. I'm glad we did that, and I'm glad we finally said something about Chris D'Elia because somebody had to at some point, I think.
Yeah, I mean the comments of that video are hilarious in that they wildly vacillate between very pro to so many people talking about his shirt. That's the best part. Like
really? Are lots of people talking about his shirt?
A lot of people are on both of our sides of saying shirt inappropriate. I like your angle of saying his environs are too nice for his crime. I think that's a very fun thing.
Thank you very much indeed. Are you across the Britney Spears
My
situation?
spread across it like butter on a fine toast.
Oh, good. What kind of toast?
I mean, we could be here for a while. Depends on the situation. There's nothing truly better than fresh rye lightly toasted with melty, lovely, salty butter. Holy fucking shit.
Salty butter on rye. I'm in the
Mm.
mood for salt beef on rye.
But any bread, challah bread, rye bread, any bread is good bread. Anyone who's against bread can fuck off.
Yeah. I'm actually really in agreement with you about that. Now, Britney Spears, some 10 years ago, was put under she has a conservator.
Yeah, what's interesting about this is when we're recording it, who knows when you're getting to see this, but as of this recording, it's very much on the zeitgeist of Britney Spears' conservatorship. What I think is more interesting is that what no one acknowledges in the Free Britney movement is she's never been fighting the conservatorship. She's only been fighting who's in charge of the conservatorship, which is an interesting distinction that no one has made as of this recording, not of this release.
Well, they do mention that in the documentary that I watched, in that she doesn't actually fight the conservatorship. She just fights it being her daddy.
Well, they mention it a roundabout way, and that everyone's going, we got to get her out from under this conservatorship. And then that one person goes, well, she's not fighting a conservatorship. She's fighting her dad.
Whose idea was it to give a conservatorship to somebody who is widely regarded as an irascible booze hound? Who thought that was the best man to take care of her money?
Here's what no one is talking about is that Britney Spears was in a fucking tailspin because the entire world drove her crazy and she did a bunch of drugs and burned out her. What I genuinely believe is she burned out her fucking mind. They gave her an IQ test. She's incredibly susceptible to outside influences, and they signed her up to a conservatorship so her parents could monitor her money. Yes, her dad is in charge of her money. Her dad is still married to her mom, who's very close with her whole thing. You don't think that this giant hundreds of millions of dollars organization isn't being run by more than one person? Like, there's a certain naivete to this whole story that does drive me fucking up the fucking wall, where people are like, you don't think that there's more than one person involved? You don't think that all of the booking companies, all of the promotion companies, the hundreds of millions of dollars she makes in a year, like, he's not fucking spunking it? Because if he was, there'd be a fucking hillbilly with a big boat in the middle of a lake somewhere.
Listen, I don't know I literally didn't know anything about Free Britney Spears apart from a Dane Baptiste tweet and a few others. I've actually gone through. I've muted a few words on Twitter recently, and what I did was I googled the top 50 most commonly used words in the English language and muted all of them because I wanted to see if I could get my timeline completely bare. Anyway,
I got rejected by a management company in 2019 and then unfollowed everyone on all social media for a while, and that really fucked my Twitter. Also, a bunch of people I'd also revealed, by the way, very quickly, who has alerts for if someone unfollows them on their social media, because a few friends texted me and said, why'd you unfollow me on Twitter? Which was a delicious reveal of their ego. Was a absolutely unctuous, you fucking scumbags.
I was annoyed at you for days when you unfollowed me.
Did you know?
No, I have no idea. I was making that up. But I don't even know when you did it. What happened to your Twitter when you unfollowed everybody? Because my God, what a gorgeous and beautiful thing to do. Did it have negative effects? We'll go back to Britney Spears in a minute, listener, but this is key information that I need for my mental health.
For a few months, it's fine. And then what happens is your tweets get seen by less and less of the people that are following you, because Twitter relies on, and it's all interactive. So, and if you're following no one, they don't like that. So it basically shadow bans you slowly. What you can do is just mute everyone, which is what I've done now. Is I followed a bunch of people that I'd unfollowed and then immediately muted them, because I'm going to say this right fucking now. Stand-up clubs need to open up for no other reason than most stand-up comedians that are pushing 40s, current COVID content output is awful. It's either edgelord shit, conspiracy theory nonsense, or just bad musical comedy that's making me want to put my whole cock and balls in a fucking Vitamix and turn it the fuck on.
If you were going to direct somebody to a clip of yours on YouTube, I mean, would you? And what would you direct people to?
I stand by my Edinburgh 2019 show, which is available for free on YouTube. I stand by that. And
what about you meeting Dennis Rodman? Would that?
I'll stand by that as well. Yes.
Good. Okay. I
stand by those 2 clips only.
Yeah.
Do you stand by your Harry Hill club night set?
I will say that everybody that worked on it was brilliant, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And they did leave in one of my setups and cut the punchline from it. So that whilst that slightly jars for me, listener, go on.
I don't even know what setup you're talking about. I think it's a great set. I think it represents. Yeah, I think it represents you quite well.
I think because I hear the punchline to the bit that they've only left the setup in for, and I kind of go, oh my God, people are going to think I'm insane.
Well, tell people what the bit was now so that they can go watch and compare.
I think it's that it's a bit where I had about me having sex with somebody who I describe as a unit, and me being a fan of this, essentially.
Yeah, you say one of your best lines, which is I have no type. It's one of my favorite things about myself. It's a lovely illustrative line.
Thank you. Anyway, they've cut out the bit about me being like an Elizabethan theatre goer. In the Isla, do you know that bit?
No,
I'll do it for the listener one day. Anyway, but there's also 13 minutes of me at Club Haug in Rotterdam, and that is 13 minutes of me doing chaos well, I think.
As in you're fucking some chaos in its mouth?
I'm doing some good controlled chaos. There's some good improv there. I'm just talking to the audience for 13 minutes. And actually, a lot of the time when you're talking to the audience and it's going well in the room, and then you watch it back,
it's not going on video.
Oh my God, that they were laughing at just anything because I was confident. Whereas actually watching this crowd work back, it's quite satisfying to see that it was actually not bad.
I like that.
Interesting. I was very interesting, I think. I was very interesting that day.
That club is the Hague?
Haug, not the Hague. You don't want to play the Hague.
Where is that club?
Rotterdam.
It's in Rotterdam, yes. Yeah. Filmed a special in Rotterdam.
Did you?
Hasn't seen the light of day.
Will it?
I don't think it will.
My special comes out in April, listener. Watch this space.
Oh, yes, very exciting. Or just go to YouTube and watch a full hour of me for free from the Edinburgh 2019. Stand by the whole thing.
Yeah, but you've probably got Amazon Prime anyway, haven't you? So watch that instead.
Yeah, go watch Alfie. Alfie will be fun. He's going to talk about a woman. He peed in a vagina, and I was there for that.
I didn't pee in it. I was asked to, but didn't.
It's a lovely bit. Lovely.
Yeah.
I wonder
because she had a key bowl. That was the observation. That was the juxtaposition observation. Is that she had a key bowl, a really nice little key bowl, and she asked me to piss in her cunt, and I just don't. I'm amazed that to those two things about how those two facets of her character coexisted. Otherwise, I wouldn't have mentioned it.
It's amazing the dualistic nature of human beings' personality. Like, I'm amazed at the different things I'm able to do. I'm utterly shocked all of the time.
When you watch porn, how careful are you? Like, are you squinting to kind of go, what's the power balance in the relationship? Like, I don't want to be like Chris D'Elia.
I am pretty conscious. I'm kind of off porn. Something happened in the last sort of 2-3 months. It just doesn't do it for me anymore. The imagination doth run wild.
Okay. Maybe it's all those drugs you're on for your arm.
I mean, that really shut down the whole carnival full stop for a good while there. I don't know why every junkie has a girlfriend. Your dick just doesn't cooperate. Like, it gets.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant because you were left-handed.
No. It gets, it gets ready, but then there's no product at the end.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's all R&D, nothing to sell.
Just to close off the Britney Spears, my big takeaway from Britney Spears documentary, very interesting stuff. now that I'm talking to because I didn't know anything about it, then hearing you speak about it, going, well, it's obviously fine and a big fuss about nothing, and these conspiracy
No, no.
theorists are just fucking mental.
It's obviously her dad's a dickhead and shouldn't be in charge of the trust. She clearly, there is something medical going on with Britney Spears that she doesn't want us to know about, which is why that the key to that documentary, and it was pointed out to me by a friend who makes the greatest point in the world, which is the lawyer who goes, the judge that saw something that says, I've seen a medical report that you haven't seen that I'm not going to show you, is why this conservatorship is staying in place. What that is I've seen a medical report that tells me, a judge, there's a reason why this is in place.
Well, also, what kind of person needs a conservatorship or a conservator?
Someone that is very susceptible within society to being taken advantage of. So
yeah, and didn't she have that little guru that followed her around for a bit?
Yeah. So what it is that she's vulnerable because of something either genetic or something she's done to herself. She's susceptible to something.
I do feel sorry for her, and she seems like a very honest and soulful person in the documentary. But the key point is Britney's Instagram.
It is a key point. Go ahead.
Has its own podcast. There are two women.
I know one of
Britney Graham, the podcast.
Yeah, I know Babs Gray. She used to run a wonderful show back when there were shows in Los Angeles.
Really? So I was thinking we should do another Britney Spears because Britney Spears Instagram is huge.
Should we do a podcast about the Britney Spears Instagram podcast?
Yeah, the Britney Spears Instagram podcast. The podcast.
Yeah, and the symbol of it is just a snake eating its own tail, and then underneath it says the internet.
Can't we theme it in a more kind of Britney-esque way? Doing it could it could be we could do lots of jokes about it, I suppose.
It's Justin Timberlake eating himself. That's what it is.
Wouldn't he be eating the soul of Britney Spears?
He's the snake, mate. He's
out of a pizza box because he's hoaxy and real.
I want to put a brick in Justin Timberlake's face. Am I wrong?
Right. I mean, again, a lot of the violent ideations you have. I mean, yes, it's wrong.
Okay.
But no, but not as wrong as it would be were it somebody else.
Good.
So, do you know? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm more of just a Backstreet Boys fan.
Okay.
I just think that they did it better.
Britney Spears was my first crush, my first sort of pop crush, I think.
I was always more of a Christina Aguilera man.
Yes, well, she came along at the same time, and when Dirty came out, I have to say, I did.
We all enjoyed that music video.
Try and coax a bit of jizz out for that every now and again, but of course, I was young enough that none would come out.
See, this shows our difference in age. For I was quickly turning the sofa in the basement of my childhood home into some sort of blacklight reflector for the satellites in space because of that video.
Yes, a staple of the diet, and it's amazing what a big role music videos played in our onanistic gadabouts when we were younger.
This is something someone pointed out recently, which is, you want to know why movies and TV have really changed and finally are able to get good? Is because porn being on the internet, there had to be another reason to watch movies and television, because up until about 15 years ago, there were so many shows that were basically just like, maybe this broad will get her tits out. You'll have to watch and see. Like, do you understand that people went and saw the movie Swordfish because they were like, Halle Berry gets her norks out, and everyone was like, Halle who? Let's do it. Like,
is that the one where her son dies, so she gets Billy Bob Thornton to fuck the grief out of her? Now, you might be able to tell from my face, have lost 1.5 kilograms.
Go on. How'd you do it, sir?
Oh, well, you know me. Just eating a lot less. Does that shock you?
That you were able to do that? No, you seem like you have a similar power to me, which is you look in the mirror and go, enough of this, time to slim down, and you can just do it.
But only only to an extent. I can't, I always kind of go, oh, I no longer find myself repellent. A bun, and 7 beers, and then I drink myself back to.
Well, here's the question: did you have your Saturday fun day drink with Voz? Did you?
Yeah, it was great. Absolutely great.
Take me through it.
The introductory tipple was a beer called a Lagunitas, which is a Spanish beer that will blow your socks off. 6.5% alcoholic content in the beer, and it does knock you sideways slightly. Then we had a Chateauneuf de Pape from 2015, the best ever harvest, and I might be getting the year wrong. Then I believe we had a.
You've never, by the way, come across more like a dad with the amount of beers that you enjoy in this story so far.
If I was curating the evening's booze, I would have gone through more than 2 beers.
Oh, it'd be all beer. You love a beer, mate.
Death to half pints.
Death to half pints, mate. We're not going to end the episode, but yeah,
we're not ending the episode, but it's sometimes good to
remind.
We'll put an advert break there. Death to half pints. Advert break. Hey, use manscaping.
Such a weird ad that's so de rigueur on the internet. So you got super drunk. Is that what caused the losing of kilograms?
No. Actually, the day afterwards, you have to weigh yourself every day because your weight kind of fluctuates. So you should get a jaggly line that eventually curves off downwards, much like the COVID death rate. No, I've been trying to lose weight all month, basically since I got COVID, and sort of hoped whilst I had COVID that I'd be losing weight. And actually, the only thing I could do was eat. So just eating endless Pizza Express vegan giardiniera pizzas from my bed, having Jesse bring me up little biscuits all day. And
oh yes, it was wonderful.
It was so good. But I did just become this sloth, like fat fuck, splayed out on my bed, jiggling about.
Do you have that type of relationship where you can feel her kind of look at the more of you, where she kind of gives you that kind of like, time to sort this out, they might say?
She doesn't do it with me as much as she should, probably. I wish she was a little bit more, okay, fatso, let's get rid of this for a bit, shall we? She's very, very because she's so if I said that to her, it would be God. The end of the world as we know it. If I said that to her,
would you feel fine though?
I'd have to go to Chris D'Elia's studio and do an apologetic statement about it.
It's been a while. What kind of, would you wear the same shirt?
I'd wear a sort of a flannel kind of pink. Pink, I think, is a very. How could I be a wrong when I'm wearing pink?
It's a forgiveness color. It's a color. Yeah. Yeah, you did good stuff.
So I'd wear that, and I'd say sorry to Jessie for suggesting that maybe it's time. First of all, I'd like to also add to the record that she does not. She is she's a fantastic looking woman who is as skinny as they come. And,
yeah, especially after firing out 3 humans from her midsection.
She's a medical miracle. The Squeezy app that she follows, which is water drinking apps.
Yeah, huh?
It's like one of those, but for pelvic floor exercises. Did you not know about that? I suppose you wouldn't, would you?
Yeah.
The Squeezy app has taken a lot more of my brain space than it has yours.
Yeah, and here's what I'm going to say right now: is as a confirmed bachelor, it would be weird if I was like, "Oh, Squeezy app, yeah, I'm on it all the time."
What's a confirmed bachelor?
I mean, it means that there's confirmation.
Who's confirmed it? Do you have to go to a priest?
The Bachelor Commission.
Okay.
Priests. Yeah, it's a priest. Yeah, I think priests are confirmed bachelor. I think confirmed bachelor is one of. I think
Priests are confirmed.
I think confirmed bachelors is probably one of those many old timey slangs that just means gay guy. But now that you can just be,
yeah,
you
like
can-
it's confirmed he's a bachelor, and it's not getting any better.
yeah, there is no cure for his bachelorhood. His bachelorhood is going to. Yeah, I was about to make a horrific joke.
Did it involve the word colon?
It was going to involve the losing weight rapidly. Is where I was going to go with it.
Okay, that's more offensive.
Yes, it certainly
Yeah.
was.
I like the word colon. My friend is a member of the LGBTQ plus community, the G, and he very funny and dark sense of humor in which he would talk about prodding his boyfriend's colon, and it's always made me laugh. The introduction of the word colon in a sexual context.
It is wonder how much colon time have you spent in a sexual context?
How much body fucking have I done?
Yes, how much body have you done?
I've only analyzed one human.
No.
And
I don't like analyzed at all.
I, at the end of my 2012 show Soul for Sale, in which I responded to a member of the comedy industry saying, advice, be funny, not clever. Nobody cares how clever you are. But at the end of the show, after being, vaguely intelligent about the point, I stuck 2 dildos to the ceiling and did a funny dance with them. And that was meant to be, that's me being funny, not clever. So I had these dildos knocking about, and I just had them. I kept them in the, in my flat, and where I was with my girlfriend. And I've never really been very keen on ass sex, not to the extent I think a lot of men seek it out or suggest it as something that maybe happens that night. Maybe tonight, darling, we could do ass sex. Never really been a man who suggested that when there's a perfectly serviceable mouth or say knocking about. But anyway, she said to me, like, I said, "Oh, have you ever done anal?" She went, "No, I never want to." And I went, "Oh, okay." And she went, "Well, do you want to?" And I went, "No." No, do you want me to fuck you in the ass? And then I went, "Yeah, maybe. Like that would be." But but I wanted it to happen as a joke or for the story, or so that I could talk about it in a podcast in years to come. Like, I never wanted. I wasn't gonna, to my knowledge, gain pleasure. But the thing is about this particular dildo, even though it was the smaller of the 2 dildos that I possessed, it was still too big for my beginner's ass.
Aww.
So it wouldn't fit in there. Even we lubed it, but still no dice. So I can't say that I have been analyzed, but it's not for lack of trying.
You're a good boy.
Why do you ask? You a fan of it?
I mean, I just like sex in general. I haven't had loads of experience, but I'm a fan of all of it. I find all sex fun in all of its different shapes, smells, sounds, and goops. Do you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna agree with you. Leave no stone unturned in the fuck department.
Yeah, well, let's give it a go. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if you fancy it, I fancy it. Apart from if you want me to piss in your cunt, do draw the line there, and I will slope off back to Kensal Rise train station at 5 a.m. and get some hummus and a baguette and eat all of it, and then throw it all up. Good evening.
I will say this about Kensal Rise is the most. It's 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm waiting for the Tube train station in London because I've also had to do that at Kensal Rise.
It's also a big thing about that bit of London is I don't know whether I know where it is, stupid. But it feels like it could be north, east, south, west, anywhere, because all you know is it's on the Bakerloo line. You get on there and then 3 hours later you're at Baker Street and you go, right, okay, where have I just been?
Yeah, you're sitting there going, oh, good, the Bakerloo line, the line of scoundrels and cocks.
Is it?
I don't go for Bakerloo and Central Line. I have no truck with.
Really? Is that because the Central Line's too deep underground and you get nervous?
No, I just they seem slower and sort of out of the way.
The Central Line. Central Line is a speedy little bastard. I'll
You'd think
often
so.
prefer it to the Hammersmith and City Line.
Oh,
You
well.
get from Shepherd's Bush into Soho, or South Holborn, as it was previously called.
Is that what Soho's from? Of course it is.
I think so,
It's
yeah.
South of Holborn.
South Holborn. Soho. Soho.
But you see, it's also, I never lived in Shepherd's Bush because I'm a man of class, so I had no time for the Central Line. Because unless you're in Sheppey B, you're not taking the Hammersmith and City, or if you're in Hammersmith. The only time you take Hammersmith and City is you're trying to get from Paddington Station back to King's Cross like a gentleman. And you want to do it with speed and luxury.
I miss it all. But we've just had our opening hours announced. This, what's that song? Got the city on lockdown. Hi-fi in the drive-by. Well, yeah, it's been announced when we're going to be allowed to go outdoors again. Boris Johnson put on his best grandma's wig and his loveliest Marks and Spencer suit. Side point, one of the things that annoys me most about politicians is the fact that they wear such shit suits. I know that you're earning $100 grand a year. Get a fucking nice suit on.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. You're also in London. There is a good tailor up the road from you that could adjust that size that you look very nice.
It doesn't make you more likable or everyman to me, the fact that you're in a shitty suit. Get a nice suit. Also, if you say, well, I'd like to thank the right honourable gentleman for his suit. I'd also like to thank Savile Row London for this gorgeous suit that they sorted me out with. And then you'll get it for free because you're wearing it on TV. You're announcing it.
With that point, I have to draw this to a close because we have to do the trailer for this fine show, and then I have to go do my Twitch stream.
Okay. Listener, it's been a real pleasure. It's been one of my favorite ones yet. So I hope you enjoyed it too. And I'd like to sign off this episode. You can tell I had a line this morning. I've been in quite good spirits, I think.
Yeah. Oh, you've been fired out of a cannon, and I've liked it. You've been punchy. You've been fruity. You've been delicious.
I think it's because I got invigorated by my Rumsfelding.
Yes. No, it absolutely you have had mischief eyes the whole time, and I have to tell you, it's a good thing I find you charming.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you've enjoyed the podcast. Please like and subscribe. Recommend it to a friend. This is Discussion Eagle, and it leaves us with nothing else to say except for Jonathan.
Death to half pints, Alfie. Death to half pints.
Death to half pints.